And here on the main stage, I welcome Sandra and Tomasz from Poland. Good morning. Well, afternoon already, I guess. You're going to be talking to us about gamification to achieve strategic goals. And this is a story from Mercedes Benz. Thank you very much. You have half hour and I'll see you at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello to all participants in this session. My name is Tomasz Koch, and I have been the head of Lean Enterprise Institute Poland for 17 years now. I wanted to introduce the speaker of this session, Sandra Burish. I have the pleasure of knowing Sandra while she was still a student at Wrocław University of Science and Technology, where I gave lectures on quality management and lean management for many years. Sandra has been working at Mercedes Benz for 5 years until last year as a head of Mercedes Benz production system department at the Mercedes Benz manufacturing Poland plant, where internal combustion engines and electric batteries for Mercedes-Benz passenger cars are produced. Currently, for more than a year, Sandra has been supporting the key international projects in Mercedes-Benz Vans plant in Charleston, South Carolina, in United States. So Sandra is from Poland, but currently working in South Carolina. So welcome, Sandra, and please, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for a great introduction of me. It is a pleasure to be with you on the stage. As Thomas mentioned, I start my experience with Lean from the beginning of my education in college. And actually, Thomas gave me the first, let's say, motivation to go deeper and understand this Lean topic, which actually it's part of my presentation today, because I want to talk about gamification. But this kind of gamification is very deeply connected with Lean, and this will be the focus for today. So gamification to achieve strategic goal in Mercedes-Benz in Javor. I think Thomas said about me mostly everything what I want to say. So thank you very much, Thomas. And now we can go to the presentation. I will first start with agenda. So first of all, just to briefly let you know about what we will discuss. So introduction, what is actually Mercedes-Benz production system, as well as MPS League. Then we will go to the precondition for MPS League. We will discuss about the game, and I will show you some examples. And in the end, I will share with you where actually we implement and how this works. If we will have time, we will have Q&A. So just to give you a roughly understanding about Lean and this gamification, I want to show you how this developed in Mercedes. So the first Mercedes production system, the department actually, was introducing in 2000 year. Then we have some transformation, of course, because the all world is changing. So we also want to adapt. And in 2012, we decided to create this first game. The first game, this MPS League, was introduced in Germany, and this was just between two plants. Then we built our plant in Poland 2018, and in 2020, so after 2 years of building the MPS team in Poland, we introduced MPS League. So not right before we start the production, it takes time to think about this kind of gamification, which interact between different departments, and it's focused on achieving the goal for the entire company. This is like the briefly overview. And here I just want to show you the slide that important is that we are working together all the time in the production system, and all of us as important, and this is the main goal of our company, that we want to connect our work with people, product, and machinery. Everything is as important as culture and management. And to achieve the goal and to have the good gamification in our company, of course, always saving and achieve the main KPIs are the most important. That's why always the game should be connected to the main, let's say, project at the company. And in this case, we actually create this gamification, which connect from one hand fun people from production, and from another side management, to bring them together and to help achieve the goal which are needed year to year. And later I will explain you, of course, more about this gamification. But before that, this MPS League, I want to introduce to you some brief information about MPS, Mercedes Benz production system, because this is actually part of this gamification, this MPS League as well. So here we have, let's say, logo of our MPS office. MPS is this Mercedes Benz production system, which I will mention a couple of times. And here you can see like house. Mostly every lean department has their own house. So we all, of course, have our own. And we can see that we have some loop. Always we start with the client. So we have some important message for us about client. And the key message for this logo is that we can see that we have 5 internal processes, and we have 2 external ones, which actually are the most important, but we don't have possibility to have influence on them. We just have to react and work with them. That's why this is the kind of basic for the gamification in this MPS League, to always adapt to the current situation and then go through our internal processes, starting from leadership, then of course standardization, stability, flow, and then continuous improvement. So we should always remember that Lean, it's not just continuous improvement, but the basic in Mercedes has to be implemented before we will think about improvements, because without support of management and standard, it's really hard to make some improvements. So this is about main goal, I will say, of MPS office. And because we as MPS office are responsible for running, let's say, this MPS League, this gamification. And to have some brief overview how it always makes sure that some of the processes are implemented. Here we have some questions. Of course, it's much more. This is just example to give you a brief overview. For example, in the continuous improvement, it's do I regularly analyze all types of waste in existing processes? So this question I have to ask myself, or the team member on the line, group leader has to ask themselves if I really do it, because if not, I am not ready for change. And we always should be ready for change with the gamification and with all the new upcoming projects. Here I will start to a little bit introduce how this gamification MPS League run, because we build this game based on our processes, based on our rules and definition on each stage. Here we have the Polish name, but before we had the English, I think it's not that bad. It's about leadership. Now I just want to show the visualization, how this works and how we should run the process. So as you can see, we always should go from the leadership, so the red place, and then step by step to the next level. And this is also part of the MPS League. So if you make assessment, which I will explain you later, we always try to remember about checking if the step 1 is done before we will go to next step. These are like precondition for good Mercedes-Benz production system, as well as making the rates for the MPS League. So this was the brief, I will say, overview about MPS office and the main structure which we have to try to run the processes and make assessments in the production system. And this is for all plants. So it's not just Poland or just Germany. Now I'm in Charleston. We also have MPS office, and we follow the same rules. So the rules, the standards are always the same. And I will say, wherever you go, you always know how to work and what to do for this gamification, as well as how you should run, let's say, projects and all KPIs in each plant. So I can say I am proud of this, that Mercedes really take care of standards, that in any places in the world, we always follow the same rules. So this will be also applying to the gamification. And now I think it's the time to tell a little bit more what is the MPS League and what gamification means for us. These slides were based on my experience in Poland, because theirs was the plan where I start to implement it. And of course, now when we are in Charleston, we didn't have this before, but this year, since I joined, we will also start this MPS League, because this presentation is based on the cars, but we also, in Charleston, especially, we have van. So now we have two sections, and we will also combine them together. And yes, that's why I want to mention a little bit that this is still from Javor, but nevertheless, this applies for any plant. And later, of course, I will show you more details. So gamification, what is gamification for Mercedes? It's healthy competition involving management in the achievement of strategic goals through commitment and assignment responsibility. So this is very important, that goals are identified by management, and everyone has assigned some responsibility. Because without this, you can never tell that this gamification really give us some output. It should be fun, but on the other hand, someone always should take care of that. And not just one person, but in each, let's say, stage, which I will show you later, different person has some responsibility. And main benefits for our company, I didn't put here the numbers. I know that the numbers are always the most important, but based on the gamification and the definition, we should focus on, let's say, fun. And this was the most important. As well as for us, the most important is that we can define the short and long-term goals for our company. It's like, let's say, pre-assessment, pre-identification of the future business plans. So what actually will be the focus for the next year? So I already tell you a little bit about this MPS League, that this is never-ending story. So this game never ends. Every year we have new cycle of this MPS League, and we try to improve year by year. So this is like also the key message, that it's the winner every year can be someone else. So yes, this long-term and short-term goals. Then it's to exchange, I think for me, especially, I think this was the biggest benefits, was exchange of experience between teams with the factory and between factories. So really sharing the best practice helps to solve the problems, to improve production, and to really focus on the right things. And this kind of gamification really supported this and bring everyone together, bring also the network, which is kind of basic, I will say, to run processes smoothly and have also in the company. And awareness of the stages of development compared to other factories. So we can see in which step we are better than different plant, and in which stages or each area department we still have to improve, and we can share. And then from one side we can share about, let's say, leadership principles, but if somebody is better with the quality, then they share with us the processes. So we can actually between 10 or 12 plants see who is where. So these are the main understanding what actually is MPS League. And now I would like to show you some benefits, why it's so important, and this should be always defined before we start the game. This was the main goal. So why we are doing this? What worldwide transparency learning? I think I mentioned about this a little bit, and what we will achieve. So good practice exchange between shop leaders. Here I can share with you some example from my first year. The shop leaders didn't have much experience before with this. And of course, it's competition because this is gamification. And we planned the meeting just for 2 hours, first meeting. And I had to make 3 breaks that everyone has to rest, because every of them wanted to really rate themselves very, very high. And we as MPS, we are support to help them understand in which level they are. So it was very let's say, hard meeting, but in the end, the results were great because they exchanged the best practice between buildings, and we really improve our processes much faster. So why MPS League is important? It's also to improve the production system themselves, and because of systematic assignment of process maturity and KPI achievement. So based on the small steps which are so important for improvements, we can really see that our KPIs are achieved because the targets are set up that in this way that everyone understands that and know what we have to do to achieve them. And awareness of what is actually needed in the plan. So integration in business plan, as I was mentioned in the slide before. So, and as I also a little bit tell about this MPS League, this game which we have here, the main goal is to run this year by year. And these are the preconditions for us before we define the game. And this is here, I will not go through all the explanation of the slide, but mostly I just want to share with you that we can see here somehow the loop. So it's important that the goal of the game and how we achieve the KPIs, how we integrate this to the strategic point of view, it's going from both sides. So MPS League has indicators from the target of the head of Mercedes Benz as well as from production. And then we bring them together and define, okay, who can win and what are the most important impact, which has to be included in this game. I know that I am saying about this game, I didn't show you exactly how this means, but believe me, in 2-3 slides, you will understand more. Just for now, the overview. And so as in the slide, you can see, if we set up this game, it took a couple of weeks. Then after that, we can see the disconnect with daily shop floor and also with the, let's say, weekly meeting with the CEO. I think this is the most important part to really bring the gamification part as part of the strategy. Okay, and now we will go to more examples. I will try to show you one, like explain a little bit in one example based on my first year in Poland when we introduced this gamification, this MPS League. So what are the rules to understand a little bit the game? So the rules are like numbers of players. So the more the better. We never say you cannot be part of the game. The more people is better, but of course they have to first understand. And then MPS office, like Lean consultant, are there for them to help them understand and know how to score it. And this they can join every year. So they cannot join half of the time to be also part of the assessment, but they can of course watch, and then next year they can be part of this. So one player is one director in the production or logistic or maintenance. So if we have one plant, let's say in Javor, we can actually have 10 different departments which can raise each other, can put some assessment between each others, but in the end, it will be just the one, let's say, rate for the company. I will show you later, but the most player, the better. And if we just focus on the plant, we can say our director in production or maintenance are one player, but when we look on the Mercedes, and Mercedes is very big plant, a company, we are looking as one player, as one plant. So for example, Javor, Germany, Düsseldorf, Kamenz, China, Charleston, US, and so on. So depends of the scope, because we have different stages, we defined how we rate each other. Time of the round, it's 1 year. Assumption is self-assessment, assessment of strategic objective, and the system has to run minimum 0.5 years. So we cannot implement this game. I think it's very important topic just right after, before we start, let's say, new line, because there still are changes. So this gamification, this MPS League can run very well if we already have production running. So this has to be a little stable, and then we can introduce this game, because then this doesn't make sense and we will not see the right result. Players. So we have I will not tell this name, but the most important is that all the stages, all the steps in our company, like the levels, are involved. And I have one slide which will explain you this a little bit more. So action which has to be done during this game, because of course every game has some actions. So and here we have a couple of actions which will taken always, not that you have to choose, not like with the table games. So first of all, you have to make self-assessment. And based on this, it's not end that you know how many points you have. This is just 50% of your final result. Then, of course, MPS office, like a lean consultant, has to give their own opinion and help them to really understand if the rates are correct. And from opposite side, I will also show you this later. You will have the 50% of point based on KPIs. So not just that we don't just base on the feelings, we also base on the fact. And then we connect these two together to have the best result. And then we have to choose the optimization for the next year. So we have to define the goals. So the next step for the business plan and for the focus for the next year. And this will be the focus where we should improve ourselves, but also we should choose two places where we think we are proud of. So to share the best practice and to show to different departments. And who is the winner? Of course, we should have some winners, and then they have handshake and nice t-shirts with Mercedes logo. It's the highest number of points. And from one hand, and from another hand, the biggest motivation always is that you can be proud of your plant and show how good the plant is. So based on all this best practice, which all the plants will share in the end, they are choosing the best practice, and then they are going for a nice trip and they make some video and show the best practice with a deep understanding of the process, how this runs. And then these are the way how we try to show that this is important and they are the winner. And now I will show you some examples of some timeline for 2 or 3 years ago. So usually the main assessment in the plant, just for one plant, it's taking around 2 months, and it's between October and November. So this time it's established always, and it's fixed because in December, January, we will create the new business plan. We will create new goal for the new year. We will define new KPIs. So that's why this is kind of important to make this majority of your production at this moment and make this right. Of course, we have some kickoff and some alignment between captains and so on before, but in the end, the main assessment is done in this 2 months. Actually, we are running this now in Charleston for logistic and production as well, first time. And everyone is very excited. It's nice to see how management start to be involved when they compare each other. They a little bit motivate each other to be better. So it's really good experience. Okay, and here I will show you example how this was in Poland when I discuss who should be involved. As you can see, we always start with the production floor. Here, maybe before that, on the right side, we can see the colors as was before in the house. So for each color, we have some questions and some KPIs where they have to answer. If, for example, management has all the training, if management is supporting to help people with rotation, any kind of question is around 20 questions in each of the rubric column, and then they will rate. The dots are the rates. So from started and finishing with excellent. In the next slide will be shown better. And as we can see, the lean consultants are always with them to help them understand how they should rate each other, because they can say, oh, I am very good with problem solving. But then we are there to ask them, okay, how many problems did you solve last month? How long it took? So if they don't have this information, we can say, yes, you are started, but not excellent. And usually we know that people like to rate themselves a little bit more. So that's why the consulting topic for this game is also very important. So we start with engineering, then we are going to first level of management. This is like production leaders, then we are going to directors, and in the end it's CEO. And in the And we can see here that actually each of them make their own assessment first, like GSM1 make the assessment for his line, GSM2 make the assessment for his line, and they later, 3 of them together, make assessment for this building. And if we have from assembly, the rate, and later, let's say from machining, our CEO make rate for the plant. So we can see that we start very deep, but in the end, as a plant, we give just one assessment of our company. So here we can see the dots. For example, here will be different line, but here will be the assessment for just for the plant. And this is the one of the example and meetings which we had. So in the next slide, we can see example with the questions. What I told you that, okay, this is the stages, started, installed, running, and effective. And then they have to mark in which stage they are. Based on the small notes, how they can understand if this is good or not. And this is more understanding. If they really don't know if they are here, here, or here, like they say we are in install, they can go deeper even and say, okay, if I am in, I don't know if I am between these two, I have to check if I have this KPI is implemented, these actions are done, and so on. I don't want to go too deep. Someday, if you would like to understand more, you can always contact me and I will try to explain you more. But going deep will be, we don't have enough time today. And yeah, in the end, we can ask, we have even some slides to help ask the right question to them as MPS experts. And here is the real example from our game, how we rate each other, and yeah, where we were at this year. And later we put this all together. As you can see, we also make fun. I put the picture of the most famous, let's say, soccer player, and they really enjoy it. So even the CEO was laughing very much. So we also bring some fun to the game because this is always the most important. And then, as I said before, we connect the rates from this documentation with the KPIs. Our KPIs are automated, so we just take this from the system and we can compare these two informations because each of the stage has also KPIs. And then this is the final rate for the game. And this score we will later introduce to different plants and see where we are in comparison to different plants. Here it's how the application works. I just want to show that we have app, and then here we have the space for best practice as well as the place where we think, okay, I think I am bad with standardization. I will put here notes, and later someone will contact me to share with me some best practice. So this is also very good that later we can use all the worldwide network to define practices. Here we can see roughly, there are not all of them, how many plants are taking place in this game. So we can see different country and different plant even in each country. This is very good because then we can really connect the culture. Here we can see the rates. As you can see, we try to also compare each other between the plant and then to see where we actually want to improve. And this is the standard slide for the best practice, so that later we have some titles and then everyone can easily share the best practice in this app. And this is like just to understand the loop. Here we have the main stage and we have the final steering committee and reward system, how this works, what was the best practice to share, and how the loop is going up. So we always make review, consolidation workshop, and then we are going to next year with the new business plan and actions. Here we have how many participate we have each year and how the system improve based on the time. The main goal, as I said, which we had, I think I already mentioned most of them, but I will try to point out just one, that continuous improvement is instead of putting out fires. So this is the main message for us, that we try to always remember to make this gamification to avoid firefighting later. And I am happy that I was part of you with this presentation today, and I hope it was interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
It was. Thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing. Sorry, we're running out of time, but we appreciate your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas, as well.
There was one question, however, we do not have time. So thank you.
You can chat in the lobby of the event if you want. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, I will try to check and answer for the question. Sorry to be a little bit longer. I am passionate about that. That's why.
It was just in time.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.